Welcome to Lovin' Life's Journey DIY. I'm Chantel. Thank you so much for being here. In today's video, I am going to be doing some really easy, really cute, and budget-friendly farmhouse DIYs. These are going to be for my kitchen because I have been wanting to update the decor that is above my kitchen cabinets for quite a while. And so after we finish these DIYs, I'm going to take you into my kitchen and show you what I have for decor now, and then we're going to transform it. So let's jump in, get started on these DIYs, and then we'll head to the kitchen. I found these little wood farm animal cutouts at Dollar Tree, and I used a little hacksaw to cut off the bottom of two of the animals, and I left the base on the cow because that's going to be the bottom one, and I cut the bottom off of the pig and the chicken. And now I am just sanding off the bottom of these to make it so they kind of fit together better because I'm going to be gluing them one on top of the other. Once I was happy with the way they fit together, I did decide to go ahead and paint the backs of these. It's not really going to show, but I just wanted to make it more finished, and so I'm just using some black chalk paint and painting the backs of these. And actually this will make it so you could display the plain black side if you wanted to. On what is going to be the front side of the chicken, I am going to use a pencil and just write the word cluck. And then when I'm happy with how that looks, I'm going to take a chalk marker and I'm going to write this out, and I'm going over around the curves and just kind of thickening it up just to give it a little bit more interest. But I like how this looks, and I like that it's just in my own handwriting. If you don't like your own handwriting, you could use a Cricut for this, or you could print off a pattern to use as well. And I'm going to do the same thing with the pig and the cow. I'm going to write oink on the pig, and you guessed it, moo on the cow. Once the chalk marker is completely dry, I'm going to use my hot glue gun and attach the pig on top of the cow and then the chicken on top of the pig. Then I went over any places where the hot glue was showing with a little bit of black chalk paint just to hide that. And I realize that the proportions on these animals are not correct, but I still think this turned out really cute. For this next project, I'm going to be using this 3-piece hanging sign from Dollar Tree, as well as a couple of their farmhouse stencils. These stencils are really cute. They are a little bit flimsy though, so we'll see how well they work. And I'm just going to be using some regular black chalk paint. This is some I picked up at Walmart. I'm going to start by cutting my sign pieces apart, and I'm going to do this by cutting the twine just below the top staples of each piece, and then I'm going to remove the staples on the bottom of each piece. And this is going to give me a hanger on each piece. So the two bottom ones I will have to tie at the top to make my hanger, but then I'll have two identical signs, and then I'll save that piece that was the top piece for a different project. But I thought this was just an easy way to use what was already there. The great thing about these stencils is they fit these signs absolutely perfectly, and so I'm going to use some double-sided tape to stick the stencil down in each corner. This will help it from sliding around while I'm stenciling, and this tape will come off really easily. And then I'm going to use this brush that I had. It was from Walmart. It was in the Waverly line of products, and it works pretty good for stenciling, but you can use a sponge or any other type of stencil brush that you might have. The trick with stenciling is you just want to go in a straight up and down motion and not rub side to side, because you don't want the paint to go underneath your stencil. And of course, you don't want to use too much paint. And I thought the stencil worked pretty well, so I'm going to go ahead and use the other design on my other sign and do the same thing. And even though these stencils were a little bit flimsy, they seemed to work really well, and they were easy to wash and reuse. And so for $1.25 at Dollar Tree, I definitely recommend getting these. I decided to use some of this black and white check ribbon from Dollar Tree just to tie a little bow and add that to the top of the hanger on each of my signs. For this next project, I will be using this little galvanized metal board from Dollar Tree. I'll also be using one of the Farmhouse fabric prints and some of these wood eggs. I found these in the Easter section. And then I had some magnets already on hand, but I have seen magnets at Dollar Tree as well. I will also be using some linen white chalk paint as well as a little bit of black chalk paint. I'm going to start by adhering my fabric to my galvanized piece of metal. And this is just a thin metal sheet that you kind of have to wiggle out of the frame, because this is not like a regular picture frame that you can remove the back. And so I just carefully removed that little piece of metal. And then, oops, spilled my Mod Podge on the fabric, but I'm going to use the Mod Podge on the piece of metal and just give that a good coat and flip that over onto my fabric and make sure that it is all smooth out. And then once that has had a chance to dry a little bit, I'm going to cut the fabric right along the metal edge. Next, I'm going to paint my frame, but before I do, I am using a piece of sandpaper to kind of rough it up a little bit, just because it's a pretty smooth and slick frame, and so I want the paint to adhere to it a little bit better. So I just sanded that a little bit and then went over the frame with a couple of coats of the white paint. And I made sure to get the inside edge of the frame, and it doesn't matter if the paint gets on the cardboard, because we're going to insert that fabric covered piece of metal back in, so you won't see that paint that got on there. And then once the paint is dry, I'm going to go in with my black chalk paint, and I'm going to dry brush on my frame with some of that black, just to kind of tie it in with that black and white fabric. Then I'm going to take my little metal piece and carefully just kind of work it back in underneath the frame. So now I'm going to take 3 of those wooden eggs and just use my white chalk paint to paint them, and this did take a couple of coats to get a good coverage on them, but I just painted those, and then once that paint was dry, I used my hot glue gun and glued one of the magnets to each of them. And I am going to use a little bit of jute twine just to make a hanger. And I just used a short piece of twine, tied a knot in each end. This just makes it easier to glue on, and I hot glued it to the back. I had to laugh when I saw that it said happy chicken in the chicken, because if the chicken had laid an egg that big, it probably would not be a happy chicken. For this next project, I'm going to be using this wall sticker from Dollar Tree, as well as one of these pre-finished white signs. I love that they are carrying these in the different finishes. And then I'm also going to be using a little bit of jute twine and my matte finish Mod Podge. I'm also going to be using a drill with a bit that is the same size as the holes that are already drilled for the hanger on this sign. I'm going to measure where the holes are placed on the one end, and then I'm going to mark those same places on the other end and drill holes so that I have basically matching holes on each end of the sign. Then I just placed a scrap piece of wood underneath, and I used my drill to drill those holes out. Now I'm going to take the wall sticker and peel it off and then just place it on the sign. And one thing that makes it really easy is the lines on the sign are a good guide to make sure that you're getting it straight. So I'm just placing this on and making sure that I don't have any wrinkles. I decided to use a ruler and a razor knife to kind of cut out the wall decor on those lines or grooves that are already in the sign. And I thought this would be a little bit easier than it actually was. It took a little bit of patience to get this cut out because the wall sticker just kind of wanted to bend and not really cut. And so I did get that done, but I would say that's kind of completely optional if you want to do that. I'm not sure it made a huge difference in the way the sign looked when it was finished. Now, I don't really like the shiny look of the wall sticker, so I am going to use Matte Finish Mod Podge, and it is important that you get matte finish so that it isn't shiny. And then I'm going to paint over the whole front of my sign so that it all has the same finish, but this will really cut down on the sheen of that sticker. To finish this off, I'm going to use my jute twine and push it through the front of that bottom hole and tie a knot. And then I'm going to cut a long enough piece of twine so that I can thread it in through the top hole, make my hanger as long as I need it to be, and then I'm going to thread it in through the other side so that I have the twine showing on both ends of the sign, and then I'll just tie off a knot on the bottom hole on the other side. That was a really easy way to make a hanger and add a little bit of decorative detail as well. For this next project, I'm going to be using this Dollar Tree planter, and I'm going to be using my white chalk paint. I'll be using one of these chip brushes that's also from Dollar Tree. These are great for dry brushing, so that's basically all I'm going to be doing is lightly dry brushing across the bottom portion of this planter. I love how it brings out the design in this planter because it is a raised design. And then I'm going to go over the rim of the planter with a heavier dry brush just to make it stand out a little bit more and give just a little bit more contrast. And that's all I'm doing with this project. And then I will add a little bit of burlap to it and some greenery, and it just makes a really simple project, but I think this looks great and it's going to look great up on my cabinets in the kitchen. So here are some of the items that I am planning to put up on my cabinets, and some of them are the DIYs that I did today, and some of them are things that I have been buying recently to add to my kitchen. So this bird picture was actually something I got from Ashley Furniture because they had given me a gift certificate because we bought a chair there, and the picture by itself is fairly expensive. I think it was $60 or $70. But like I said, I had a gift certificate. I will put a link to it below in case you are interested in that. But I just thought that was really pretty. And then I picked up this bird cage at Hobby Lobby, and that I got on sale for, I think it was 50% off. And I thought that would go really cute with that bird picture. So I also got the little wood crate from Hobby Lobby for 50% off, so that made it like $12. And then I had just these little pictures from Dollar Tree, that one and that one. I believe I also got this galvanized Home Sweet Home container from Hobby Lobby. I've had it for a while. I know I got that on sale. The cotton stems I did make, and I have a DIY on how to do those, so I will put that in the description box below as well in case you want to check out that video. And then of course my Cluck Oink Moo, and I just really like that, so I'm excited to put that up there, and my pot with some greenery. So these are kind of the new things that I'm going to be integrating into the kitchen. So let me show you what it looks like right now. And I apologize for the kind of yellow lighting. And I know some people would say I should paint my cabinets white, but I really love my cabinets. The wood is called Knotty Alder, and I just think they're beautiful. And I know they're outdated probably, but you know, I love it. So I couldn't stand to paint them, at least not yet. Okay, so I'm going to climb up here on this stool and give you a little bit better view of what I have up here. So a lot of it is more like antique, vintage type things, and I'm wanting to change it to be more of just a little bit more modern farmhouse. There, I took something down, never put anything back up there. So this is what I have. When you get up here, you can see the things that I put underneath to raise them up. That box is really old. This little barn terrarium I got at a furniture store with a gift certificate as well, because we bought furniture from them. So I guess that's a thing with furniture stores. But their home decor items are super expensive, so I don't buy them unless I have a certificate. So that is just a cute little barn terrarium that I got, and I just put that up there. But some of these things I'm going to keep, and some of them I am going to replace. here I was trying to figure out how to hang my sign above the stove. It was just too tall. I was about 3 inches too short. Chris came in and wanted to help, but I wouldn't let him climb the ladder because he recently had surgery. So he held onto the ladder and onto me, and we got it figured out. So here it is. This is how I'm going to leave it for now. I may end up changing a few things around or adding or taking away some things, but this is what I did. So I put the bird print and bird cage over here. And then there's my flower pot that I did. I added some flowers for just a little pop of color, kind of a wildflower spring look. I'm kind of going with the white and green theme here. This mixing bowl and this bean pot both belong to my grandmother. She lived to be 108 years old and a half. The half is important. And she was born in 1902. So those are really old, and I really cherish those, so those were staying. I added my gathering place sign up above the oven for the stove top. And then I added some more spring flowers in my little window box, and I think I'm going to change up both that window box and that Home Sweet Home container there, kind of with the seasons, just to add a little pop of color. So let me know in the comments below what you think. I know you can still see the box, but trust me, when I'm not standing on a 3-foot stool, you can't see it. Oh, and I did decide just to put some magnets on the back of my little board, and that way I could just put it on the fridge. I know I could just stick magnets right on the fridge to hang things up, but I think this is just so much cuter and neater. So again, here is what it looked like before, with all of the more antique and vintage items and just kind of a random collection of things. And here is what it looks like afterwards. And I have to say, I'm really liking how cohesive it all looks, and it's just so nice to have something fresh and new. I also think by going with the lighter color palette, it really helps lighten up my kitchen, since I do have the darker cabinets. I hope you enjoyed these farmhouse DIYs and my kitchen refresh. If you did like this video, please hit that like button. It really helps my channel and helps others to see this video as well. And if you are new here and you enjoy budget-friendly DIYs for your home, then be sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the bell and set your notifications so that YouTube will notify you every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day.